the animated vision of it, but what that does is everything along Spring Valley eventually changes, and that's important. Try to be able to do that because, again, the values, thank you, sir, the values there are, if we don't do something, the values will increase, so or decrease. So all of, you know, when I talked about visioning and planning and where we're going and how we're going to get there, if we don't have a plan, everything stays the same. And one of the things that's driven Richardson, at least as long as I've been involved, is always having a plan, always trying to move forward. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward because you're never staying the same. So we are trying to do a lot of work in this area as well. Now, I will also tell you that that's happening in other parts of the region, or other parts of the city. We have 8 different locations like this Spring Valley 75 location that we're building plans for. So the idea here is to evolve this city and let people understand and know where we're going with our plans for the City of Richardson. And with that, I will tell you that one thing that we initiated early on in my tenure as a city council member is what we call a city council goals creation process. And we sit down after the May election every 2 years with whoever's on city council, and we work through a document that was created in '87 that we've carried forward and revised and modified and upgraded and to continue to create the vision of where we're going. We have this document, the goals, the statement of goals, and a comprehensive planning guide, 2 documents that work together, prepared by the council, that tell our community and ourselves what our goals are. Because with that, as we have proposals that may come in front of us, it's a lot easier to have everybody together and on the same page in terms of what we're trying to do if you've written it down and you have goals versus if you haven't. So that is, from my perspective, that whole goal process and visioning process is very critical to our community, and we've had the involvement of the community as we've worked through it, and we always try to encourage that. No matter what we do, we try to be open and get as many people involved in the process as we can. So that is where I will end this discussion, and if I have any questions, or if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. Yes, sir? Did you hear?
Yeah.
Oh.
You mentioned that you try to found the technology companies to serve Richardson. And what kind of activities do you have to attract the companies? I mean, do you give them some freelance or reduce tax? So
Yeah, several things. First of all, we try to, it depends on the size of the company, and we have to always make sure that we're looking at return on whatever investment we make. So if it's a smaller company and they're looking for some kind of help on our part, we may be able to work with the landlord, we may be able to help them in that regard. We set up StarTech, which is our technology incubator, to try to help new companies develop. And so that was our initiative. And larger companies we're working with 4 right now. We will do a range of things. We can do tax abatements. We've done things where we have research. We've facilitated research relationships with UT Dallas. Part of what we're trying to do is to stimulate centers of excellence at UT Dallas that will correspond with where technology is headed. So technologists will want to be here because of the employment base that we have that already work here and those who are coming out of UT Dallas. So it's a combination of things, but I meet with them along with our city manager and our economic development staff, and we find something that will work for them, which allows us typically to compete with anyone in the world or anyone regionally. And we've been pretty successful with that. Is,
What about your goals for the schools, like you did in terms of the Richardson schools? How are they rated?
okay, Richardson schools have an exemplary rating, and we don't control the schools. I did have a slide in here, but I was concerned I was going too long. But we have a close working relationship with Richardson schools. About 1/3 of the Richardson Independent School District is in Richardson, the rest is in Dallas, and a little bit in Garland. So, you know, it's important to have great schools. We moved, my family ended up in Richardson because we had a great reputation for schools. And so that is an important part of this, and we work closely with the district. Part of what we do in some of these redevelopment initiatives is to work with the school district to make sure we're doing something that will help them and not harm them. And you know, the professionals who live in our community, because many of them work here, is a good thing for the district, and those students come from all over the world. But because we have very bright students, the district has, and because of this, just the desire to be a great school district, I think the district has done a great job. And the state scores and the state rankings have suggested that they've done very well. And I hope all of you have found that to be the case. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming tonight. Very well organized presentation, and I'm a proud resident of Richardson.
Good.
And I work in Richardson too.
That's good.
And my question will be about support for child care assistants. Do you have any plans on supporting, like, I'm working in a daycare, and we have a lot of single moms, especially teenage single moms who have to go to school and have a small baby. And I always had this passion to help, especially to moms like that, because their life is very, very hard.
Yes.
And I always dreamed of combining like a single mom center with a skilled nursing place, because these two young ladies and maybe old people can really combine, and I mean, old people really can help to those young moms who really need more than money, actually, like sometimes they need a shoulder or just somebody to give them advices. Do you have any plans?
Well, we have several things that we have. First, let me say that we have we support network. We are strong supporters of network financially, and many of our people volunteer for network. We also have Network Youth and Family Counseling, which is next to the police department, to help some of the people that may need the kind of counseling we're talking about. We provide them a portion of their budget as well. Then we have an adult literacy center that's part of the library. So if someone comes to the U.S. and they aren't, English is maybe their second language, maybe they don't even speak English, we have a program that is put out through volunteers from the library, through the library, that is set up to help people in different backgrounds be able to communicate and be productive in our society here in the U.S. We also have other volunteer organizations scattered all over Richardson, from their philanthropic organizations that raise money to help people that need help. And so we encourage our citizens to be involved in that. Leadership Richardson is a program that we have to help create a sensitivity to the issues that may exist not only within Richardson, but in North Texas, so that we can create the attitude of volunteerism to try to help people who need help. Now, we don't have a plan for a large building where we can house people that need housing. Dallas County does that, and Dallas County has programs as well. But we're trying to help people who want to help themselves. And I guess that's probably the best way of saying that's the way our programs in the city have been driven, and through encouragement. We don't want to see people be on welfare the rest of their lives. We want to train them. We want to help them be able to move out of that position and then move forward and be a productive member of the community. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I was wondering how far to the future do the plans extend? Like, do we have plans for 50 years in future, like 20 years?
Well, it'll take us 50 years to do a lot of things that I don't know. But you always try, here's the deal. City council terms are every 2 years. So it's easy for the members of city council to focus on today and next week and maybe a year out. What I've always tried to encourage all of us to do is look further out. Identify stretch goals. That's Spring Valley project. I wish I would have been thinking so I could have showed you the video of what that's going to look like. But it's important to plan for those things. And they're going to, I don't know that they'll take 50 years. But, 20, 30 years clearly before all that, if I've been on city council for 25 years, and Spring Valley, and 75, from Spring Valley up to Arapahoe hadn't changed very much, and we've always had a vision for it changing. That you, by definition, have a long-range plan, but it's gotta have financing, and those are some of the things we're trying to put in place. We can't build it. It's not appropriate for us to take our tax money and build all these things, so we try to facilitate. We create incentives. We create a fund that can be used to put infrastructure in place to encourage people to go in and do redevelopment. We've done a lot of those successfully around the city, and it really works well. It just takes diligence. So we don't typically say in 2050, these are the things that we want to accomplish. We really lay it out in terms of what are we going to accomplish in the next 2 years, what will we accomplish in the next 10 and beyond, sort of thing. And those are obvious when you start looking at what we say we want to do in this community. Some of those are going to take a long time, like redeveloping 75 and Spring Valley. Others can be much more immediate. So our Tree to Town program is a great example of that. Mayor Omar has initiated. I mean, that thing is going. It's a near-term thing. We're treating the town, and we're having great progress with it. That doesn't change the way Spring Valley or 75 looks, but it changes a lot of other neighborhoods. And it really does have an impact. So you have to have a balance between both of those.
Question. Appreciate you being here tonight. Really, thank you. Pleasure to meet you too. I'm living in Richardson for about 10 years, and originally from Bosnia. We're currently raising money and trying to find a place where we can actually have our cultural center. And we've been very involved in the community, trying to get a lot of Bosniaks together and basically establishing a community here that's basically in need of being established. Since the war, there's a lot of people that have been misplaced in different states and stuff like that. What kind of advice or what kind of person would you be able to direct me to in case we do want to decide to take a presence here in Richardson? Because we have actually looked into other places like Rowlett, Rockwall, and,
Sure.
And those areas.
I think, given what I think you're going to end up trying to do, is you're probably going to go into an area where a building already exists, so that you don't have to build something new. You're going to try to find an existing building that you can convert into something that fits I don't know how many square feet you're looking for or what you have in mind, but there's a guy that does our real estate for us in economic development. He's